Mr. Hooftrimming Ltd. You're doing a funny kind of hoof trimming today.
Yeah, it's not quite your normal again, was it? I think Olivia had the same sort of idea, didn't she?
So I'm guessing from the name, you started off doing hoof trimming.
Yeah, it's only recently really that we've sort of given that side up, or sort of put that one just to one side for a bit, and we're still, manufacturing all the crushes and all of that. That's still going on. Probably going stronger than ever on that, the manufacturing and all the production side of stuff. It's just that we've sort of pushed ahead and increased the contracting, probably double what it was a couple of years ago, really.
And how long have you been at the contracting?
I'd say we're on about 10 years now. I think about 2000, well, it might be more than that, it might be about 12 years now. We bought the first chopper in 2012, and from there, really, we're on the fourth chopper now. Gone from the one chopper back in 2012, we swapped that one for an ex-demo one. Bought an 1100 then as a sort of second backup machine, really. And if we did ever need it, it was there in probably 2 years ago now. And last year we swapped the 700 that had done us well. That had first Krone we'd ever had, and glad really we'd gone to it really. We've got this 1180 now come last year, and well, yeah.
And this was a second-hand machine when you got it?
This was a new to us machine. To be fair, it's done no grass till it come to us. It was mainly maize machine. It hadn't done much really. I think it was quite a bonus really. It hadn't done the grass, because you can see from the amount of grass we're chopping and what the Cheshire grass is like, probably pretty much like the Irish grass normally. We're a bit,
yeah, it's about there.
It is, to be fair. We're on a smoother kind of crop today. It's a bit more gentle on the machine today than it has been all the last week. But yeah, I think that sort of helped it really. And yeah, we're pretty pleased we've gone for the 1180 really. It's obviously a challenging season this year now. It's condensed sort of 3 weeks work into 1 week, and I don't know, I think everyone's about working on reserve and Red Bull and Monster at the minute. I think it's gone a bit like that. We had a couple of niggles yesterday that give us a couple of hours, probably 5 hours I'd say, of sort of downtime, barbed wire, and yeah, I think sending it a little bit too hard, I think. But we managed to keep going, and well, I think we're back on track to where we need to be, but it is just with the crops being as they are. I think we've been on some which is sort of like 28 tonne a hectare, and the dry matter sort of, well, I think with the weather we've had now, it has gone fairly high, but we were down very low to start off with really, so yeah, it's all hands on deck and try and get the job done.
Yeah, so you've only done one forager out today?
One forager out today. Problem is we've got fair long haul. We haven't really got enough trailers on. I think we've got 10 now. There's another one coming, and there's just no point really putting the 2 in for both of us. Both of us to get me flask out and have a cup of tea, so we thought we'll send one. We had to have 2 out on the weekend. I think we cleared 670 acre and put about 5,000 tonne of grass in the clamp, and I think what didn't help was the rain we had on Thursday. Wednesday was quite bad as well, and it sort of just held us up a fair bit really, and once Friday morning come, that was it, all hell broke loose, and yeah, we just couldn't really get enough hands on deck really, so we're sort of catching up with it now, and I thought another week I'm hoping we'll be fairly, well, we'll be where we want to be really. I think then we can crack on with everything else then, all the slurry, and there's a bit of late maize to go in now and get that in, so yeah, it's nice to get on the grass, but I think everyone will be happy to get off it for a week, I think.
Yeah. You do, we were out with you before at the slurry as well.
Yeah, we do.
Big at the slurry. I see there's a lot of slurry here on the yard.
We do a lot of slurry. I think since we pushed last year, we've obviously built that pump trailer now. That's sort of streamlined everything for us really. It's a lot easier to set up. We're pumping a lot more volume quicker. And it's just, it's accuracy as well, and it does work well. We've done a lot more nurse tanking now, so we're running the 5 tankers now. yeah, everything's just booming. To be honest, it's gone. Yeah, it has gone. It's grown that quick, really.
And is that why you kind of downscale on the hoof trimming? Just too busy this side, or were you sick of the hoof trimming kind of?
It is, to be honest. I suppose I've probably been trimming for what, best part of, I'd say 20, 25 years now. It is a young man's game now. I think my shoulders and my arms and my wrists are a lot better for doing it, really, for stopping doing that. And again, it's concentrating on this side of the business, and there's a lot of, well, it's concentrating on getting everything day-to-day running. It's massive. Logistics of the whole lot, that's taking some doing, like. So problem was, I'd be off hoof trimming, we'd have cows ready to trim, the phone would go, something would need sorting or something would need ordering, and you just can't. It's we were trying to run both halves of the business, not at sort of full production, really. So it's one of them things. We scaled it down a bit, and that's where it went, really. We pushed more into keeping. We had the machines on the yard, and they just needed to be earning more money, really. So that's what we did, and it's definitely worked, like.
And then you're making hoof trimming crates as well, is it?
We're building hoof trimming crates again. They're going all over the world, really. We've got New Zealand, we've got one or two in Australia, mainly UK. We try a couple in Holland, Germany, France, and that's basically it's picked up more and more. The more we send out, the more we see orders we get in. So we're trying to increase production there. We're putting new machinery into there, new tube plasmas, new upgraded plasmas and everything, just to try and really get them out quicker, but without really compromising on quality and build really. Yeah.
And in the winter time, then, are you more kind of involved in that business of making the hoof trimming stuff, or do you still be at the slurry or something? Or
no, to be honest, I do as much as I can. But I think this year, for some reason, the slurry just went absolutely mad, and we hardly stopped all year. I think we looked on the counter the other day, we'd done about 140,000 cubic metres of slurry in 12 months. So you're talking well over 30 million gallon, and it's like near on every day that machine was out. So there was a lot of late muck as well. There was a lot of, after the maize this year, there's a lot of more cover crops going in. So we're sort of, once we get to the end of the maize now, it doesn't seem like there was a bit of a lull, really. You get to Christmas and the wife's saying now there's never any spending time with the kids over the winter. You used to be in at 5 o'clock, and it's just not happening anymore, really. For some reason, everything has just gone all year round. We sort of push forward more now. We've got a digger now as well. Mainly that was bought for emptying lagoons out, digging lagoons out, and actually tower stirring. That's got, again, another string to the bow. It's pushed more. We put more dual spreaders on, and that's again all the year round. And with more machines, then we're trying to get them serviced and sort of gone through in the winter, but I don't know. We just don't seem to be able to get around. There's more machines, there's more work. And more maintenance, really. So it just seems to be getting busier all year round. It doesn't seem to be like a short season now, because we were still into November, we were still doing grass, last bit of maize, and then everything then was being either sumoed in or ploughed over, and there was a lot then. We put a seeder on the back of a power harrow last year, and that's proved real popular as a one pass straight in. We've invested in a Sumo Quattro cultivator this year. Oh,
I did see around the yard earlier. There was everything. I was like, there's anything this man doesn't do?
It just seems really that some people have just, we're going into combining this year, and that was another thing that we did it years ago. There wasn't really that much call. It was sort of stitched up really with all the other contractors. There's been a bit of a gap in it now. A couple of our customers who wanted it doing, we were just having a couple who were saying, well, if you've got a combine, we do a lot of crimping. So that sort of goes hand in hand. A lot of the customers we go to on that, they sort of didn't push us, but they were keen for us to get into the combining, because rather than them having to arrange somebody else to come in with a combine, then sort of half arrange us to come in on where the combine's up to, and not knowing how he's going to get on. If he's late landing, they told us to get there for a time. And so they said, well, if you can do the whole job, you're baling it, you're crimping it, well, you may as well combine it. So it's again, those balers now, since we stopped combining, the straw baling had gone down a bit, and obviously now with going back into it, that'll go back in, and it's sort of more of a complete service really.
Yeah, so you have 2 big square balers.
We're running 2 square balers, we're running a 4-stringer and a 6-stringer, and we also run 2 Fusion 3 pluses as well.
And would you do a lot of baling with Fusions now? Like, does it?
I'd say, if anything, the last year it was definitely down. The wrap price was expensive, more was going in the clam, and I don't know this year really. We've got the regulars, obviously, that just do round bales for beef cows, or a lot of the grazing boys now, they do more baling than clamp silage really, because they can put them on the outwintered paddocks and what have you, and strip graze with the fences with them, and just open them a bale now and again. But if I'm honest, with the crops this year, it could well go up again. I think probably around about 2018, we were running between the 2 balers, we were doing 20,000 bales a year. So I would say since then, they have pushed a bit more towards clamp. If I'm honest, the numbers will have come down, but again this year, whether it'll still be back up, who knows like. But we're fairly, the Fusions are constantly busy. We were looking at swapping one of the Fusion 3s for a Fusion 4 this year, but we just thought we had that much other stuff that we needed. The baler was, it'll do us another season, no problem, and that's what we ended up doing really. But we may look at next year now for upgrading it, and we just want to try and keep the kit new really. It's everything.
Keep as much as you can under warranty, I suppose.
We do try, to be honest, or at least if they're not under warranty, we try and go through them constantly through the winter. We try and strip them all down, whatever it needs it gets, and if it's not going to last the season, it gets changed. To be fair, it's one of them. Downtime's just it's expensive to service everything, and swap parts that might not need changing, but the problem is it's always more expensive when you're on stop and you've got 10 trailers stuck there waiting, or you're on stop and you've got to get the second baler. We run the 2 again because it's quite a handy thing. If you've got a good acreage and it's going to rain or whatever, you can send the 2 in, or it is a peace of mind that if it does happen to have a niggle or something, everything breaks down. Doesn't matter what badge or what colour it is, you're always going to get some kind of issues with them. But if you've got something spare, you can just jump on it, you're away, and you've got the reliability then, and you've got time to just sort the other one out really.
Yeah. How do you find the reliability in the servers to the Krone now with big X's? And
to be fair, there's a lot of people that'll say, the service on the Krone ain't good, and they stick with class. I can't fault them, to be fair. We've had them over the years. Yeah, it all depends on the dealer. We've got a fantastic dealer now, Pontefract Tractors. If there's any issue anywhere, you ring them up anytime, and I've seen we've got a lad, Roger, that's technician from there. Quite often it's a bit of a joke now that he'll have his own mug and knife and fork with us soon, because God knows what time he'll be there. I've seen him rock out the yard at about midnight after finishing the job. So we had a niggle the other day. We had a rocker arm brake. I think Krone have upgraded them since then, but literally we had a lad in Leeds for 8 o'clock the next morning, and I think by 20 to 9 he was on his way home. The parts department had rung it, sorted out getting the parts. They were at the door ready to pick up, and away to go. Well, you can't do better than that really. It's it's a part that they wouldn't stock. It's one of them things I think they have modded, and it kept us going. It didn't really stop us. We were able to carry on, but equally within I think we rung them at, what would it be, 9 o'clock the night before. They were in there straight away in the morning. A couple of hours, I think we were down here at 11 o'clock and we had the part on and fitted in away. So what can you say? We've stuck with them. We like the build quality of them. I think you've got your class John Deere, your New Holland, and your Krone men who all reckon their choppers are best, and it's questionable in different crops or what have you, but for us, this is a machine really.
it's hard to say anything bad about it when you see it here today, eating these 60-foot sports like.
It is, to be fair. It just absolutely, all right, you'll say it's got the horsepower. You're on nearly, you're over 1100 horse, but equally it feeds in nice. well, touch wood, and I'll probably do it at the end of this one. It's not blocked once. Never had it blocked. So I don't know. It's for us. We've been running them now 10 years. The 700 we had, that was just an animal of a machine. The 1100 then again, that was we just thought we'd had something when we bought that. But when you've got this now, yeah, I can't see anything to keep up with this. It's consistent every day now. We're putting anywhere between 1100 and 1800 ton a day through it. Well,
would you notice much of a difference now between the 1100 and the 1180?
Massive. I didn't think, to be totally honest. A couple of the lads we were talking about it, and the 1100 will hold its own, and it'll do this and it'll do that. Yes, the 1100 is some machine, but it's not close to this. I don't know what the main things. Is it just the lever engine against the man engine? They sort of just you bang it into a swath and it just wants more, whereas with your man engine you've got a teaser in and then load her up and that's it. But with this thing, it just wants more all the time.
But they are different generations of machine now. Your 1100 is the older generation.
I think the 1100 is literally grass goes in the front, it comes out the top every time. There's no mither with it, but it's not as streamlined. It's not as user friendly. Maybe maintenance. It's good, but it's not as good as these. Yeah. They've really gone to the drawing board with these, and I just can't fault it. It's the electronics they've done now, what you can do with them, the auto shear bar, and it just seems now how much further you can go, I don't know, because of course we're on the limit really what we can do now. We're running 2 machines on the clamp because I think you just won't keep up. When you're putting now, we're on 350 ton an hour going through now, and well, that's cruising at the minute. She's capable of about 550 ton an hour going out in heavier stuff. Well, it doesn't matter what machine you've got on the clamp, how big it is, or who you've got on it. I just can't see that you can do a tidy job with that kind of stuff coming at you. So I think you're about where you are. I know there's been rumours about a 1300 horsepower with 6-wheel drive, and I wouldn't want to be on a buck creek with that. I wouldn't want to be on a buck creek with this, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, exactly.
So what are you running on the clamp now? You have a Fendt with a front buck rake and a JCB loader.
We're running the Red S 435.
Yeah.
We're pleased with that really. It's a hell of a step up. We were running a JCB 434S before that, and to be fair, it was a nice machine. We had it in 2012, and again, it did us well. Very little niggles at all with it, and to be fair, we looked again straight into JCB. Does the job, good power on it, keeps on top of the clamp, takes a good load. We upgraded the buck rake. We've still got the all but buck rake that we had when we started, the 14 foot. We've upgraded it now and tried onto your MDE.
Yeah.
So Matt Belford has been trying to sell me one of them for years, and I gave him a call one day and I said, right, we're having a new shovel, what do you reckon? And he said, oh, he's on for a bucket. He on for a bucket as well. So anyway, we had a fork and a bucket off him, and to be fair, we're happy with them. They're a real good fork. You can tell it's on the front load. They're a good build quality on them. Although I would like to try the 457 and the new Volvo.
Yeah.
I think that
457 is even a big step up from a 435. Like, they're a big machine.
It'll be interesting to see whether, obviously you've got the small machine and it's nimble, your power to weight ratio, are you just going to get something that's more cumbersome, if you like, then?
Yeah.
And isn't quite as quick, I don't know, it's...
Yeah, like the 457, it doesn't have as much power to weight. It's not up there at the 17 horsepower per ton. It's a bit less, but it's still an animal. Your crowd,
you'd have more crowd capacity, your tear out force and everything. Yeah, you'd be a lot more. So it would be an interesting thing, really.
Yeah, you'd try one, you'd chance one.
We are hoping to. We've spoken to a dealer now, and hopefully they're gonna try. I can't remember when it's coming. They have got one in probably next month or so. They are having it in for demo, so we've said we'll send her across and we'll try it. Problem is, then we'll be in second cut. It'll be dry like hay, and there'll be nothing to push.
May hold off till May now altogether. So.
Well, you may well do. To be fair, you may well do. Yeah, but we're definitely interested to try, because I think that eventually will be the way we'll have to go. Is to put 2 shovels on the clamp. Really, we built that compactor that's on the buckrake tractor now, and before we galvanised it, we put a set of Volvo brackets on the back. So the idea is, if one of the tractors carry the compactor across, if it's a case of one's coping to shift and the other one wants to compact, you can drop his buckrake off, hook the compactor on and compact with the shovel if needed. We thought we'll try that, but I think that's the way we will eventually go, I think, is to put the 2 shovels on, and it'll free up a tractor as well then to go back on trailers. And
because obviously
we might not be waiting. We might not be waiting like this. Well, we've gone up for what we were years ago. We were on 3, we went to 4, then we went to 5. Now we've gone up to 8. So it's like, well, where do you stop, really? But yeah.
All Fendt and John Deere, is it?
Fendt and John Deere at the minute, yeah. Yeah, it seems. We had the 828s, and well, I think we had the 936 first. We had the Massey reverse drive a couple of years ago as well. That was, it was a good tractor, but after being on the Fendt and the way the reverse drive worked on that, it just didn't quite cut it, really. You know, it's the way the Fendt worked. Your reverse drive reverses everything, and it works well, whereas you'd swing the seat round in the Massey, and if you pushed it forward, you'd go slower backwards, and if you pulled it backwards to stop because you thought you were going to go into something, she'd just tear off. So it was like,
it just wasn't refined, like.
Just a bit of refinement, to be fair. The power was there, good engine there. You know, it did mow well, but we swapped that one for an 828. We've just put a 933 on this year because we'd had the Sumo Quattro. We thought we needed something a bit bigger. We've got the 936, but that's either mowing or on the combi drill or
that's
whatever.
Reverse drive.
That's reverse drive as well. Yeah, we're running three reverse drive tractors basically is what we're running.
And have you 3 sets of motors then?
We're on 2 at the minute. The third one's imminent any day.
And would you not go for a big M?
Well, I have told Ponsbury we want one on demo. We ran one years ago at 420, and it was a grand machine, but I could see now in the 450 what they've done to them. They have ironed out all the faults I wouldn't say faults then, but the issues that, you know, the bits that we weren't really happy with. I think the mistake we did was we thought the Big M would do every bit of mowing that we wanted it to do. But the problem you got with it is, it doesn't matter how good it is, it can't be in 2 places at once.
Yeah.
So we sold all the two sets of mowers we had, the reverse drive and the front and back, and then we went for that Big M. So I don't know, it's one of them that if we did go back to one, we'd still keep at least 1 set of reverse drives, I think.
You still are going to need to be in 2 places at once, like.
Exactly, and quite often now, I think the capacities of these now, we need to mow a lot of grass down in a short space of time. And like Saturday now, luckily we had one of our farms mowed his own grass off. We went out Friday morning, we dropped 360 acre by about 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon. So, you know, you can seriously push on with them. We were hoping this 3rd set would be here, but they're meant to be here this week at some stage. So we got a lad who comes in and helps us. He had a set of front and back, so he come and give us a hand. We sent our 2 sets of reverse drives out, and with having 900s on them, they can seriously shift. If you're in a light crop, you will switch the GPS off, and you will hit 30k.
Yeah.
And well, I think your Big M tops out at 25, so there are downsides, but there's definitely plus sides to it. We did like the groupers and stuff on the 420. A lot of people wanted to TED out, and rather than them ended up TEDing it in the hedge, you'd end up grouping in your outside swathing.
Yeah.
And, you know, around telegraph poles, the rake man just got on a lot quicker because he didn't have to worry about hitting a pole or anything like that. So we did like it. It's definitely something we consider. It's just the cost when you're looking now. I think they're over 300,000, whereas your Fendt 900s are up there, and then by the time you put your set of mowers on, but equally you can go off and do other stuff. So
you had 2 serious raking outfits out this morning, an 800 and 900 series fence with Krone rakes.
Well, we nearly had a third. There will be a third. There will be a third by the end of the week or starting next week. So I think we've had that 1400 Swadro now for that must be five years. I think it is bang on, just coming up to 5-year-old now. It's done some raking, that has, because previous to that we were running 2 Swadro 1400s to keep in front of the foragers. When we bought the 6 rotor, then obviously there's some places and some people that you wouldn't send it with, if I'm honest. So it is a case of that comes out, but because we're doing more baling now, that 1400 has done some serious work. So we've bought another 1370 now, and we're quite pleased to see how it'll work, really.
Yeah. And what do you think of the 6-rotor now? Is it a good job? Is it too awkward? Does it work well?
If you parked a 2-rotor, a 4-rotor and a 6-rotor there, as long as we weren't going into a little donkey paddock or something like that, I'd take it straight every day. It's the way it works, to be honest. Yeah, all right, it's a big bulky thing, it's 40 foot long. But as long as it's not, it's like everything. If it's tedded out grass and you're talking 10 tons to the acre, it's going to knot it. You know, your best job then is a 2-rotor, get them in there, and it doesn't matter, yeah, all right, you might have 1100 horse, but you'll do 15, 20k following it. Yeah. It's a smooth row. You know, there's no point going in there and putting 20 metres of grass together and then ending up that you can't chop it. It's banging the feed rollers, it's breaking everything. It's just no point. But that rate to me, yeah, first thing out the yard, if I go rowing up and it's for a job that will take it, that's out the yard. I just like the way it works. That will actually go narrower than the 1400 will.
Right.
That one will pull in to follow the triple mowers. Yeah. So if he's gone behind the trees or somewhere like that and you've got triple mower width, that will follow, whereas your 4-rotor won't.
Yeah, she'll go from 30 foot to 60 foot kind of.
She'll go as narrow as, I think, it doesn't like going too narrow because you won't turn or anything like that and it won't lift everything, but if you have to, you can pull them in and it will work like. So yeah, no, to be fair, it's a good rake. I don't think I'd want to be buying one now though. I think we bought that one 3 or 4, it'd be 3 years ago now, and yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to be buying one now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the compactor trailers then, we've got the that Krone TX trailer. I think the issues we've had now is with upgrading the forager, especially in a lighter crop, these 724s and the 215s, 195s, they are seriously struggling to keep up.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say.
What do you think of the compactor trailer now? Are they a good job, or are they?
They're good, to be honest. It was something. Well, we ran Stewart trailers before that, and we were real happy with them. They're a good build quality, get on well with James Stewart, and we'd had them since 2012. We had 4 of them straight off, and yeah, they've been really good. And then we'd seen these compactors, and we thought, oh, we wouldn't mind trying one. We had one on demo, and basically, well, the one with the canopy on and the weigher on, and we just ended up buying it. Yeah. We just thought, you know what, they're a good trailer. We sort of bought it end of the season, and by the time then that one had come, we'd ordered another one and we'd found 2 used ones. So we went straight, because the market was so well for the Stewart trailers at the time. We sold one and we got such good money for it. Well, we thought, well, hang on. And I think we're quite glad we did at the minute, because the way after COVID everything's gone so expensive, I think these trailers would have been serious. I think they've gone up now tremendously. I think a basic trailer is probably what we paid for that. That demo trailer with the rollover sheets, 26.5 tyres, and you've got all your weighers on it as well, which I think that's about 4,000 or 5,000, if not more now. Yeah. So we were quite lucky at the time, and we just went with it, and we thought, well, this better work. And to be fair, we had a couple of customers which were about sceptical about them. One in particular had said, oh, I'm not sure about these trailers, I'm not sure. And then I think we got after first cut into second cut, and he's like, you know what? Yeah,
these are the job.
I think these are the job, like. They're just grand on long hauls where it's really dry. It is, and they just travel well. And if one decides to fall over, it comes back up a lot quicker, doesn't it? A lot easier. That is the problem. You know, inevitable. I think if someone says they haven't had one over, they're probably lying, really. You know, we had one the other day, flat ground. He wasn't going particularly well. He was trundling along, and next thing you know, the right-hand side just disappeared.
Right.
The whole lot just went down. There was a bit of peat there. Whole lot went, and that was it. And yeah, it's one of them things, really.
And when a time comes again now to upgrade a trailer, like, do you think you'll be going compactor again, or? I
think definitely, to be honest. Yeah, we're happy. We're just looking at these triaxle ones now. I don't know, it's with having the bigger tractors, do we look at going a triaxle front and rear steer one? It's just hard to know. These ones now, we reckon, will go into everywhere that the Stewarts would go to. Yeah. The Stewarts were non-steering, they were on 500 wide tyres. These are obviously on 560s, and they're on 650s on the 26.5s, but the rear steer, I've never seen anything as responsive.
Yeah.
They're absolutely, I've just got to watch them on corners because they do come round. It's, yeah, the steering's phenomenal on them, to be fair. We've got 1 or 2 very tight yards, and we were that's the one thing we were concerned about. Would we get these where the stewards went? And if I'm honest with you, there's nowhere we haven't had them. Yeah. It's, yeah. And you will get the weight in them. You know, on the maize, you are in 20, 21 tonne. On the dry stuff, you're just getting, well, I think in a normal trailer, you probably only get about 7, whereas you'll get 12, 14 maybe in really dry whole crop with these. They have sort of come into their own a bit, really. Yeah. So all the trailers that are here today that aren't compactors, they're all subbies, are they? We've got subbies in on a long haul like this. We run 4 compactors. We've got a Krone TX 460 walking floor, which I think he's going to rock up now. He's just dropped the 6 row trough. He's on his way with that. We've got the forage wagon then that we do use, but we haven't. That's not out today now. And then I think we've got. I think the farmer himself, he's arranged 2, and we've got the other subbies then that we've arranged to come in really with their tractors and trailers. So you rely on subbies a good bit, like, would you? Busy. We do, to be honest. The problem we've got is it's trying to keep everything else manned when it goes as busy as this. When you want to keep mowing in front, 2 on the buck rake. We've had 2 rakes out this morning to keep in front. It's just manning the lot, and ideally there's a lot of men now that have bought themselves a trailer, and to be honest, it works well for us. You're not waiting, having lads on the yard on a rainy day. Yeah. You know, all right, we could do with 15. You know, there is nearly 15 men on now. Well, ideally, we could do with probably having 4 or 5 more trailers, 20 men. What are you going to do with them on a rainy day? Yeah. there's only so much greasing you can do in there, so it's one of them really. It just suits what we're doing, and there's a lot of them then, they either go into different contractors or they've got a farm themselves at home, and it just works well. They're going to find other work for the trailer. Exactly. Even in the winter, probably. Yeah. Like. Oh yeah, there's mud plugging, there's everything basically, isn't there? Or they're man and tractor, some of them do hedge cutting and all that kind of stuff. So it works really well for us. And then when you've got your smaller jobs and you only need 3 or 4 trailers, you can man it yourself, it's trying to work in then when you need the men, when they're free, and then to actually try and get everything else done. Well, like you said, you've expanded the business a lot in the last couple of years. Like, what's your biggest obstacle to expansion? Is it staff? Is it price machinery? Is it availability machinery? I think it's across the board. I think everywhere's the same. It's staff. You know, to be honest, it is. You know, who wants to work in agriculture these days? Isn't it? Really, that's the thing. There's handier ways to make money. Well, it seems to me, to be honest, there's a lot of lads who've gone to jump on diggers, wagon driving. There's a lot of stuff, and you know they're offering a lot more money. Yeah. And I think it's rightly so. Yeah, the money probably should be a lot better, but unfortunately, the way the job's gone now, we're all pulling on the same purse, really. Yeah. You know, everyone's relying on milk price, all the grain price, everything is what it is, and that's dictated, and that's it. So you've just got to do what you can. And they say the wages have gone up. You know, everywhere they've had to go up, but equally, the way the prices of tractors and stuff have gone up, the only thing that's helping us this year really is diesel. That's at the minute. But I am, to be fair, I'm quite surprised that hasn't gone up yet. You know, once you start heavy usage, that normally just rockets and you know straight away. But we're quite lucky this year. That has just held its own, and if that keeps going, it's a bit of a help, really. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely staff. It's, you know, I think farms are the same everywhere you're going on farms. Skilled labour is in short supply. They just seem to be finding something they can do that's easier, less hours, and more money, kind of thing, really. Right, Steve. Thanks for having us out. Not a problem. Might be back in for the maize. Yeah, that'll be 11-18 maize. That's what it's all about. Oh yeah, we've had a taster, but I think she'll be set up a bit better this year, and it'll be something, I think. But no, thanks for coming, and
So Ben, you're working for Hooftrimming Ltd as well, but you're not exactly a silage man.
So came here to start with and started as a fabricator in the workshop here, and was on the tractors for quite a while, for a few years, doing the book raking. And then as this side got bigger and bigger, I got a bit more responsibility and took over the sort of day-to-day management of the engineering side. So that's where I've stuck really after that.
Do you still do a bit of driving the odd time?
Not now for a few years. Just been too busy on these machines and building more stuff for Steve and fixing Steve's broken things.
I suppose there's nearly a full-time man here doing repairs for Steve, is there?
Not quite that yet, thankfully.
So what are you doing here full-time then? You're flat out making these crates?
Yeah, these are sort of day in, day out machines for farmers, for trimming cattle on farms. This one's a bit more of the full spec of the farmer orientated machine. So this one will lift off the ground, and it has the Texas headgate, as we brand it, on the front, and it can be spec'd with a remote control. So it's currently, this one's on a wired remote, but you can go full wireless. And then after that, we go for a much more top of the range machine for trimmers, professional trimmers.
So this one is at the top of the range for your farmer, and then you have a big jump up then to your contractor machines.
Yeah, big jump up to a trailer pulled along back of your truck, and detachable trailer at that, and you can then spec up from quite a few models in that line as well then. Just depends on how many cows you want to get done in a day and how easy you want to make it for yourself.
Yeah. And then I seen something very interesting this morning was Steve's slurry pumping trailer.
Yeah.
So that was built here as well?
That was built here last year or so. Started off as just a drag from a wagon. We fabricated the front end so you could get a reeler on the front end, a quad off the ramps on the side, and then added on that high ab with the suction arm, so to make it really easy to get into lagoons, over the top of towers. And then,
so were you heavily involved in the design and engineer of that trailer?
Yes, yeah. So me and obviously the lads here put it all together, essentially. Just Steve had seen some ideas and wanted to do a bit more, so just had to piece it together and came up with that one. Yeah.
One of them things that was drawn out on the back of a matchbox or chalk on the floor there,
very
is it?
nearly, yeah. I think I may have had some sketches on the floor.
Yeah, a lot of trial and error, I suppose.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So, starting at the front and moving towards the back of that trailer, like, what actually is on it?
So, the very front, obviously it's quite low, the front end of the trailer, to allow you to drive over the drawbar to drop off on the reelers.
So the reeler just sits on the trailer, you don't actually reel while it's on the trailer?
It's just for storage, so you can have one on the front of the tractor, have one on the trailer itself, so you'll be able to cart two as a minimum to farm. And then, behind the reeler sort of storage area, there's fold-down ramps both sides to drive the quad for moving the pipe about when you're on farm.
Or bringing the LT out to the lads there.
Yeah.
Is what it was used for today anyway.
Yeah. Immediately behind that, then the trailer starts going up in the air, and there's a set of telescopic jack legs there to stabilise it. And then to the left-hand side, looking from the front, is all the engine and pumping unit all under cover, but it's all self-contained. And then there's an air compressor sitting above, big fuel tank, about 800 litres carries, and that's purely to run the main pumping engine. Well, that'll obviously mean Steve didn't want to have to rely on a Bowser to, you can take it to a farm and have it there for a few days and still have fuel in that, plus even draw fuel out of that for the pumping tractor and things, which is working really well. I think the fuel usage is really surprising how efficient it is.
And what kind of engine is on it? Like, what kind of horsepower are we talking?
360, seem to remember. It's a brand new engine, FPT, so it's mated to a hydraulically actuated clutch, so it can be engage and disengage, obviously remotely.
I heard the price of the clutch this morning. I nearly got sick.
Yeah. So it's staggering. Staggering the clutch. The engine sounded very cheap compared to they're pretty much the similar prices.
Yeah.
And the clutch is an awful lot smaller unit and doesn't look like it does a lot. And you've got all that engine, and they're similar money. Yeah.
So then you have your crane or your boom or whatever at the back, and that was designed for straight into a lagoon or over an overground tank?
Both, yeah. So it's got a charge pump on the bottom end, hydraulically driven, to feed it up that boom, and it just, for convenience, so you can pull up alongside a massive lagoon and you've got the lengths to get down into the bottom of it, and obviously the ability to push it up from deep down, and likewise it can swing right over the top of a very tall tower, so best of both worlds. And there's a pressure washer and tank under the chassis, so you can swill off the small amount obviously you're going to have in the lagoon, so it keeps it tidy.
And then the one thing I couldn't figure out this morning was this big telescopic pole that goes up in the air.
Oh, that's the aerial, so you can get the range if he's pumping. Obviously, you can, takes a couple thousand metres of pipe, just make sure he's got.
So everything has worked remote control off the pump and the tractor.
All from the applicating tractor. Yeah.
And you've no plans at the minute to go making them trailers commercially, we'll say, or for other people?
So we've got maybe not that far yet. We are in the pipeline of looking for another chassis, and the order's in for another engine because everyone's aware of lead times on components have gone mad since COVID and slowly catching up and settling down. But there's an order in for an engine because that had a lead time on it that was quite long. So yeah, plan on doing another one. Another piece of gear we built here is the silage compactor. So we built one that will go on tractor. It will also be picked up from the loading shovel as well. But it's pretty megally heavy. So a few times it's been hired out. Some of the farmers have struggled to pull it with their tractors. So we're looking at building another one, just a slightly reduced weight version. So it makes
what weight is in that compactor roughly?
Sort of 3.5, 4 ton or something like that.
Yeah. And what's giving it the weight? Is it filled with concrete?
No, it's only water filled. We just put plenty of steel in it, and it's got a big. It doesn't look a particularly large volume, but it's a weight that's come out of like a tug, aircraft tug, and we assume from the weight it must be like lead filled or something because it's a fabricated box that, for all intents and purposes is solid, but it weighs more than it should do for being steel.
Yeah.
So it was quite a lucky find.
Yeah. Right, Ben, thanks for telling us about the operation, this side of things here, and I was keen to know about that slurry trailer as well, so thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you for your time.